Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Batterson?
Here.
Commissioner Henderson? Here. Commissioner Carey?
Here.
Commissioner Lee?
Here.
And Commissioner Velasco is absent.
Thank you. Okay, we have the approval. Oh, I'm sorry. Do we do the speaker first? We don't usually.
Your minutes first.
Okay. We have the approval of minutes for May 14th.
Do we have
Oh,
a
wait, we
quorum?
don't have a quorum. We'll do them next month. Any disagreements to that? Okay, approval of minutes for August 13th. Did everybody read them?
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the August minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So,
Those in favor?
with the three of us, yes. Okay, approved. Okay, so we have public comment. And our first speakers are Blockman, Robotic, golly, sorry, I can't read it, but it's a robotic team from Blockman School. And we're excited that you're here. So,
So you can come on up to the podium.
come on up, guys.
Let's go ahead and pull that down towards you there.
I'm Gavin in 6th grade. We are Team RoboCats, the Blockman Robotics team, part of First
RoboCats.
LEGO League, which is a worldwide program that competes in competitions where we find a problem based on a theme. This year's theme is City Shapers. We had to choose a problem based on a public space in our community. We are grades 4th through 7th. We voted on our problem in our community.
I'm Aiden in 7th grade. We decided to narrow down our community to the city of Santa Maria. Our city does not currently have any wheelchair accessible parks with equipment to welcome children of all abilities. Our innovative solution to this problem is to create a wheelchair accessible park and swing for children in wheelchairs so they can play with their friends and have fun being inclusive. This would include wider spaces for wheelchairs and ramps so that children would be able to go up and onto play structures.
Hi, I'm Seth in 7th grade. Here are some photos of wheelchair access swings. Notice the different designs and how the children are included in play and don't have to sit and watch. They can be active participants.
Hi, I'm Peter in 4th grade. Notice the different playground equipment for children with all abilities. They can even do the monkey bars. There's a merry-go-round and wider spaces. The ideas are limitless. Everyone can play regardless of their physical abilities.
So notice the swing on the playground. This makes sure that all children with all abilities can play with their friends and swing with them. The ramp also makes sure, the parking lot would also help because there'd be more wheelchair accessible lots for people with disabilities to park in and for them to access the park.
We also included wider spaces so the wheelchair can go through and so the wheelchair can get around places. We also had placards so they can go on the website and donate money to make more things for the wheelchair people to go on.
Hello, I'm Wyatt in 5th grade. And in this park model, there's a ramp that people can go up and down with wider spaces included. And the benches don't have a long, there's no area where wheelchairs can roll up into. So on this model we thought of that and put a wider space for wheelchairs so they can eat with your friends anytime. And a ramp so they can play with their friends and be included of what they do.
Excellent.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming so much.
Thank you.
We actually have somebody that wants to say something.
We're not supposed to comment on public comment, but I appreciate you coming forward and bringing a solution to a problem or a need that you see in the community. I think that that's what makes our community so strong and wonderful, is people seeing a need and looking for ways to solve it. So thank you for bringing this to our attention. You're all very well spoken and brave to get up here in front of everybody. So we'll definitely take your thoughts into consideration, and we've actually got some things in work, so maybe we can get access to some of your ideas and put them into place. Thank you
Yes.
for coming.
Commissioner Carey, so I did bring a couple of sets of plans that there is an inclusive playground in design right now. Well, I shouldn't say in design, the design is done, construction is the thing. So we certainly want to invite Blockman School if they want to participate with the Kiwanis Club. The Noon Kiwanis Club has helped raise money to build the park, just exactly what you're talking about. So I'm going to leave some copies with Mrs. Beal here, and if you guys want to take a look at what the park will look like, be surprised how close it's going to be to what you all have designed there. So you consider yourselves really good park engineers.
Really good. We should get a photo of that. I hope we can,
Yes.
of everybody.
Did we get photos? Would you be happy to email me photos?
Perfect.
Thank you. Mrs. Beal will send me those, and we'll get them posted in actually the next city newsletter.
Perfect.
So we can make sure that everybody has heard about their message.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You guys were great. Thank you. And I'm just sorry I mispronounced it. I didn't understand the RoboCats, the name of you guys. I couldn't figure that out. Is this Blackman? Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Good job. Okay. New business. Not today, not this month.
Presentations.
Okay. Presentations. Let me get mine. Sorry. Our first presentation is to recognize Greg Hagopian for his 17 years of volunteer service with the department's Special Olympics program. I'm going to read the resolution. I don't know, where is Mr. Hagopian? And I hope I didn't butcher your name, is that correct? Thank you. A resolution of the Recreation and Parks Commission of the City of Santa Maria, California, recognizing Greg Hagopian for his volunteer service with the department's Special Olympics program. Whereas Greg Hagopian has been an active volunteer for 17 years in the department's Special Olympics golf program, and whereas Greg Hagopian, Hagopian's volunteer efforts have had a tremendous impact on the local Special Olympics program and helped the Recreation and Parks Commission and department's efforts in meeting the needs of Santa Maria athletes with intellectual disabilities by providing opportunities through sports, training, and competition. And whereas during Greg Hagopian's volunteer service, he ran weekly golf trainings, traveled with athletes to local and regional competitions, attended the annual chapter summer games with athletes, and also organized the local regional golf competition for the athletes throughout Southern California. And whereas Greg Hagopian's passion for Special Olympics and coaching has allowed him to build respect among the athletes by motivating and pushing them to be their best while making it enjoyable. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved by the Recreation and Parks Commission of the City of Santa Maria, Greg Hagopian is recognized for his volunteer service and commitment to the Special Olympics Santa Maria program and athletes. The Recreation and Parks Commission and Department would like to thank Mr. Hagopian for his commitment to the athletes with intellectual disabilities served by Special Olympics Santa Maria, passed and adopted at a regular meeting of the City of Santa Maria Recreation and Parks Commission held this 10th day of September 2019.
Commissioner Carey, while you're walking up there to present Greg with a certificate, I just wanted to say thank you, Greg. Not only Greg as a coach, but also as a parent of one of our athletes. He's been donated countless hours, organized excursions for us at the LA Harbor, getting our athletes on boats and getting a tour of the terminal there. And it's just been a great volunteer for us over the years, and he'll be sorely missed as he moves to sunshiny Arizona. Is that what I heard? Nevada. Oh, Nevada. Well, then it's not so sunshiny there, but it's the same. Greg, please.
I want to thank you all for this. There are so many people in this program for Special Olympics in Santa Maria that contribute to make this thing to make it successful, and it is a successful program. Thanks to our Parks and Rec department, Alex, Rudy, the staff at the Parks and Rec, and it all comes together, and everybody seems to, it's like a big family, and we work together, and it makes it work out really, really well. I have not been as actively involved in the last couple of years as I would like to because of business reasons, but it has been fun, and it's been great. And we have living proof right here in this room that you do not have to be a great golfer to be the coach of Special Olympics. We have two head coaches for the golf program with us right now, David and Victor, and the three of us have spent many hours just trying to play 18 holes together. So, but it's been a lot of fun, and the athletes are great. And Alex, congratulations for your appointment to the board for Southern California Special Olympics.
Thank you.
Alex has been doing this for almost 40 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
40 years. Crazy. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And I couldn't get away from here without saying one special thank you to Eunice Shriver for starting this program back in 1964 in her backyard in Hyannisport.
Yeah.
She got it started, so thank you, Eunice. Thank
Greg,
you all
before you
very,
sit
very
down,
much.
I think the staff has something for you too, so. Oh, they made Rudy do it, I see.
Okay.
Greg, we have a little something on behalf of Special Olympics, and Greg, myself, you've grown to have a great friendship through Special Olympics, and all the years that you've helped our athletes. There's a little picture of some of our athletes there, and a thank you card, as well as a golf mug. What does it say there?
Can I read it?
Yeah.
Playing golf is not a matter of life and death. It's much more serious than that. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you
Thank you,
again
Greg.
for all you do for our athletes. We appreciate
Everybody,
it. Good luck.
it's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Okay, our next recognition is for Rogelio Daniel Maldonado. A resolution of the Recreation and Parks Commission of the City of Santa Maria, California, recognizing the life-saving efforts of Park Services Officer Rogelio Daniel Maldonado while on duty on August 10th, 2019. Whereas Officer Rogelio Daniel Maldonado joined the Recreation and Parks Department as a Park Services Officer on April 4th, 2016, and whereas prior to becoming a Park Services Officer, Maldonado completed the Fire Training Academy at Allen Hancock College and served as a volunteer firefighter EMT for the City of Guadalupe, California, and whereas during his service as a Park Services Officer, Daniel has been certified as an American Red Cross cross instructor in CPR and AED, and trains other Park Services officers on their use. And whereas on Saturday, August 10th, while on patrol as a city ranger and responding to provide backup to his partner, Officer Maldonado witnessed his partner experience a life-threatening medical emergency. Upon recognizing the gravity of the situation, Officer Maldonado reverted to his training and provided an immediate assessment of the situation, directed others to assist, used his AED and CPR skills to properly render emergency medical aid to his partner. Whereas, later it was learned that Officer Maldonado's immediately life-saving efforts minimized the medical complications that may have been suffered by this partner. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved by the Recreation and Parks Commission of the City of Santa Maria that Park Services Officer Rogelio Daniel Maldonado is hereby commended for his life-saving efforts rendered to his patrol partner on the evening of August 10th, 2019, passed and adopted at a regular meeting of the City of Santa Maria Recreation and Parks Commission held this day of September 2019.
Where's Daniel?
Where's?
Come on up, Daniel. Again, Commissioner Carey, as you present that certificate, you know, these things just don't happen. This afternoon, we have other members of the Santa Maria Emergency Services team that were involved that evening. Don't go away, Daniel. So I did want to take the opportunity to present them with some certificates of our appreciation. It's certainly important that we stick together as a team in the field, and anyway, it was good. So I'd like to present to Fire Engineer Mace a certificate of appreciation from the Commission, and also to Firefighter LaMonica. Come on up. So that's only part of the team. You guys can stay up here. How's that for a minute? Stay up here for a second. And also joining us today is Lieutenant Russ Mengel from the Santa Maria Police Department. His officers were also on the scene, and we'd like to recognize them tonight and ask Lieutenant Mengel if he would be kind enough to present these certificates to his officers at their briefing. I'd like to recognize Police Officer Matthews, Police Officer Ponce, Police Officer Boland, and Police Officer Spencer for their efforts that evening also. Russ? So again, it was something that we didn't expect to have to happen out there, but certainly the team that responded did a great job, and we have proof of that with our visitors today who are in the audience, who were the benefactors of that training that our officers, firefighters, and police officers had. So I'll give the microphone to anybody that would like to say anything. Certainly,
So alive.
Daniel, go ahead and.
Yeah, just very quickly, I just want to, not necessarily all the credit goes to us. Rebecca, Corey's wife, has got a lot to deal with, and she is being strong, and I just want to, I'm going to share this with you. I also want to thank, the Rangers. I am very proud to be a Ranger. I want to thank the program for setting up the, if I could take you guys back that night and highlight something, it would be the fact that the Ranger program, does continuing education and was able to equip me with that AED, because without that, whoever idea that was, we would have been short. And I'm just really proud to be a Ranger, and that's all I really got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know Russ Russ won't say a whole lot, but again, I think that it's important, if you have something to say, please share it with the commissions. Firefighters, you guys look at, it's your day in and your day out, it's your job. But certainly, when it hits close to home, it's important for us. So we certainly appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Thank you very much. Russ, please express that to the officers involved too. That'd be great. Thank you.
That's so good. Okay, that's it for that.
And everyone is certainly welcome to stay for the rest of the agenda, or you're certainly okay if you want to kind of sneak out. That's okay.
Wait a minute. Yeah, we can do that next.
Tony, don't be breaking down this office here. Yeah. Hi, Mayor. You didn't know the mayor was here.
Let me check one.
She snuck in.
Good evening, Mayor. I didn't recognize you. I'm sorry. I didn't see you in the back of the room.
Recognize it.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to do the motions for the two awards we just gave, the two commendations we just gave.
I'll move to pass a resolution for Greg Hagopian.
Got a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Great, okay.
I'll move to pass the resolution for Daniel Maldonado.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Okay, informational reports. Let's go to that budget update.
Thank you, Commissioners. It's, Dennis is not over there, but in his honor, he should be on a plane to Italy right about now, or have landed or somewhere. So he's on his vacation, he's having a good time. So I will tell you that at the end of this last reporting period, we had used about 16.5% of our budget, and we are under budget by 0.02%. So, pretty good, considering it's the end of summer. Usually that eats up, most of our money during the summertime. But we've had some vacancies, and so that not only assists the department's budget, but it also assists the overall city's budget. So it's good.
Excellent. Okay, any questions or comments about the budget?
I had a couple questions, but I can save them for next month when Dennis is back.
That's fine, you can go ahead
Or we
and
could
ask him. If
text him and
something I
see.
can't answer, then we'll definitely pass it on to Dennis, so.
So mean. I just had a question about the park services officers. With only 16% of the fiscal year completed, being at over half the budget, I just was curious about that and how that's going to play out.
Yes, so what you're seeing there is, with the passage of Measure U, a lot of the expenses for the park services officers are actually moved to a different accounting division, and it's not shown on this report yet.
Okay.
It's accounting division, I believe it is 90, is that right, Sheila? So all the Measure U expenses for the officers will be moved to the 90 account. So what you're seeing there is kind of residual.
Right. And then the families for the first
Yeah,
decade,
that
I
was-
know that was ACES before, and now it's not, but something else is housed under that.
So there was a request last year in the budget for $80,000 to be used for the Mayor's Youth Task Force on Youth Safety. That budget request was submitted again this year, and it was put on delay. It wasn't approved for the current budget, so we intend to go back to the city manager's office and ask them about an allocation at the end of the first financial quarter of the city. The last $80,000, I believe we used probably maybe $50,000 of it. It helped fund some new programs, it bought some new computers for the youth center. We partnered with Fighting Back Santa Maria Valley on a couple of projects. It started to fund the Safe Places grant, and I think David and Megan mentioned that last time they were here. That program's getting kicked off, but we are, there is no money right now to fund those programs. We use the residual, so we're hoping that at the first quarter we'll get an allocation for continuing those programs.
Good.
Thank you.
Anything else? Nope. Okay. Our noteworthy activities from Mr. Posada.
I apologize, on the financial 90 is reported there at the very bottom. And so that's where you'll see the Ranger program funded, youth programs funded. What else is in there, Sheila? Help me out. Graffiti.
Yeah, like social services. So some of it got moved to 0890, but not all of it.
Yes. So the bulk of our youth programs and Ranger programs are in the 90 account now under Measure U. They're funded via Measure U funding. Thank you.
That's not balanced. Okay, noteworthy activities for recreation and parks.
So you each got the copy of the noteworthies, and again, busy end of the month. Lots of things happening in August. I don't know where to begin. Just a lot of things. It's a good opportunity. Our summer program, did well with the youth coming out, getting their meals, and having a rec program. We just transitioned over to the after-school playground program I believe we're at 6 sites. That one started out a little slow after school. A lot of the children are now able to access the ACES, the after-school program at the schools. So we kind of tried to capture those individuals who didn't make the list for ACES, because I think they're limited to 100 students on each campus, somewhere in that realm. So we know there's several more hundred kids at each campus, so we're trying to get them to come out to the after-school program, which kind of mirrors the times of ACES. I think we're there from 2:30, 3 o'clock until about 6. So just to give kids a safe place alternative to go to. That's about it there.
Okay. Oh, the leisure needs assessment.
So, you all got the leisure needs assessment. 169 riveting pages of information. And, as I read through it, and even though our community has grown dramatically numbers-wise since the last time we did this, the interests seem to be pretty much keeping an even keel with the last assessment that we did. And with national trends, we're actually keeping pretty good trends with the national trends too. So I guess Santa Maria is kind of average in that regard. But there are some important points in this study, as it was in the last one. And one of them is, obviously they can't talk to 108,000 people, but they do a statistically valid study, survey, and the numbers that come back are what you see in the report. And they actually went one step further by doing the outreach efforts and the pop-ups out in the community, besides the mail-out survey that was done. So you got a little bit more information from people. Everything that, if you look in the demographic section, I feel it very representative of the community that we serve. Everything from ethnicity to income levels is pretty consistent with what we hear with like the UCSB study on economics of the county. Everything seems pretty consistent with that. The things that kind of pop out to me in this study is the interest that outdoor parks continue to be the #1 interest of our customers. So it tells us that we need to continue to keep our parks in the best shape possible, given the constraints that we have. And that we need to build more partnerships with groups, just like the kids that came in and spoke today, to kind of tell us what they think that they want to see in their community. So I think that it's a great opportunity for us to learn what our community wants, and there was a suggestion by Commissioner Lee to talk about a retreat, maybe sitting down, and what I would like to suggest is that now that we have the information, and once the commission approves this, which will be on your next agenda to approve and then advance on to the city council for their review and adoption, then to sit down with our key staff and the commissioners and kind of walk through where we want to go. I believe that there is a plan for the council also to do their planning meeting coming up. And so it would be good to be able to have this information available to them when they're considering their future plans and priorities for the city. I think it's a good study, but again, it's kind of like, gee, we kind of knew that, but I guess it's good to validate where you think you're coming from. So, I think it was a well worth the effort. The team was great to work with. I know that they spoke with the commissioners, and I think they dug down, spoke with some of the leaders in the community to kind of find out where they felt the department was. All in all, I think we got like a B+ overall in things. Certainly there's work to do, and we hope that we'll use this and at our retreat and kind of start coming up with a plan of where we want to go. So any questions from you all on the study?
Paul?
Just a comment. I commend the entire process in the report, but most of the time when you do a process and you go out to the public and ask about their opinions, and I want to commend that the department and the city is doing a wonderful job. You have 27 parks, approximately 12 centers, recreation centers, so we are doing a great job. But most of the time people are going to comment about their immediate concerns, such as soccer fields or pickleball or whatever they're passionate about. But as professionals, particularly for people like you and I who have been in the profession for decades, what we need to do is look at a long-range development plan to assess benchmarks and ideals. As an example, I've observed that this is a big city, and I don't really see much on the south end of Santa Maria. So perhaps in the LRDP, we need to consider, whether it be 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now, but at least it's identified. We talked about conservation. I noticed in your goals you have the water conservation, but what about the solar panels and other type of conservation needs for the city and the parks? So again, I commend the department, but I would like to sit down and consider benchmarks for a long-range development plan.
Thank you.
And that's what we plan. I mean, our comments are due by the 23rd of the month, I believe. So that's exactly where we're going.
Okay.
Yes, and please, Commissioner Lee, put them in writing for us so that we can have them. The other thing that it's important to keep in mind is the city is moving forward on the development of a revised general plan. The general plan has not been revised in, I believe it's almost 25 years, so it's pretty old. The other part of it is that there used to be a section in the general plan called the recreation element. That was removed from the general plan, and it was replaced with a document called the open space element. So it really talks more about space as opposed to programming and services that the community might need. And I've talked to Mr. Ng, the Community Development Director, and emphasize how important I think it is that we return to a recreation element, and within the recreation element it can contain many of the things you're talking about, and also can address our programmatic needs of the community, how we see. One of the big factors is aging in the community. If you look at the chart, we're a young community, But as years move forward, those young people are going to become older. And where our services today remain the same as they did in 1980 when we built the Muscle Center. And there has been no program expansion to speak of, no facility expansion, focusing on the new needs of the younger old people.
Yeah.
You know, I consider us, some of us anyway, are in that group. But you know, it's a whole different need. I mean, and we haven't had a chance to program for it or address it in any significant fashion. So thank you, Commissioner Lee. I think those are important things we need to include.
Excellent.
Quick question.
Yes.
Just to double check our timeframe, so thoughts are due to Dennis in writing by the 23rd. Then at the October Commission meeting, we'll be approving the draft. And then study session after it goes to council and is adopted?
Right, so what normally would happen is that you would adopt the document and then we would send it on to council for their review.
Right.
And typically they would, we would have a session at the council meeting and commissioners would be invited. Council members could ask questions about the document that was sent out to them in their packet. And if there's any questions that staff can't answer, then commissioners can participate in that. They would adopt it. What they do is they file it. It's sent to that's their official action usually, is that they accept the report and then to be filed. Then that's our okay to move ahead with whatever it is we need to do there. Or they could say, no, take it back and start again, but that hasn't happened, so we're hoping that it's not going to happen. But like I said, it's a good plan right now.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lee?
Comment. As I mentioned before, one of the processes that I find very challenging, it's because of the Brown Act and how we never really get together as a commission to discuss goals and objectives. And this is something that we should have an opportunity to collectively compare notes and then collectively maybe come up with a real thorough and important goals and objectives list.
Well, I think that's our plan, so.
Yes, and
When?
Wow.
all the meetings that we would have post the council filing of the document
Right.
would be Brown Act meetings. Very similar to what the council does when they have their goal-setting meeting. It's open to the public, and we would do the same thing. We'd probably meet at one of the community centers and, you know, where we have some elbow room to move around in. But certainly that would be the plan, and I would think we would be looking at that if we're able to get the item to the council in November, then we're probably looking at a first meeting sometime in December or maybe into January. And first meeting, because I don't know how many it may take, so we may do more than just the first meeting.
But our comments are due to Dennis by,
The 23rd of this month. Yes.
doesn't give us much
Can
time.
I think I can clarify. That's okay
Go
with you.
for it.
So it's just the plan, not what to do with that plan
Yeah.
and how to address the needs of the community that have been shown. So it's just, yes, this is acceptable information that they're presenting to us, that there's no major issue with the information that they're presenting, and then what we do is move forward with that
And
later.
then after that.
After,
Okay,
right.
Sure.
Right. And it's a great document. I'm a nerd and I love it, and I think that there's so much that you can get out of it, and I learned so much about the community
Yeah.
and our department, and I'm not through it yet.
I spent about 3 hours last night, and it's like so good.
lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You don't want to do it all at once either, though, because there's so much you want to digest.
Question, who else is privileged to this document aside from the commissioners and, of course, your department personnel?
So what we'll do typically is go ahead and it'll get filed for the public to read at the library. It'll go on, will be available online for the public. Normally we send it out to other agencies that have some kind of a connection with us, so like Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, Youth and, what are they called now? Family Service Agency, Fighting Back. People that we partner with will get the information so they can kind of see where it is. Because a lot of the stuff can be gleaned for what they're doing in their organizations, and they don't have to go spend the money to do it.
Alex, do the city council members have copies?
They will get copies, yes, as part of the packet. Once the commission finalizes it, then it'll go to them as documents, yes.
And the Mayor's Youth Task Force, I would assume, would,
Yeah, the staff that would be their responsibility to deliver those things
Yeah.
out to the groups. The partner agencies that we have, I think I mentioned most of them right now.
yeah.
The school districts, if they have an interest, we would provide that with them. I think that the critical part for the schools continues to be open space and the lack of it, and they can kind of see maybe some numbers in here as to what the impacts are to their constituents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Director's report.
Department goals, those were distributed in your packet. And these are not to be confused with the goals that we would be doing out of here. The department goals are those that the city manager's office, myself and the staff have kind of come to agreement on, that these are the things that as staff we would be focusing on. One of them is the leisure needs assessment and using it as a tool to make our future plan. So that's one of the goals. We try to make those goals as achievable as possible, and we look back at the leisure assessment, we look back at the year, and when we were in the drought, we were very heavy into the water conservation component of it. We look at what the council's goals have been set as each year, and we try to address those in our department-wide goals. Every department in the city creates anywhere between 10 and 12 goals that are then, for lack of a better term, monitored by the city manager's office, and we provide regular input, or rather regular updates on those goals. That's kind of how the department directors are evaluated on their progress. So we're providing them to you now so you can see them, and like I said, that we'll be refining some of those with the commission as the year goes on.
Thank you. Commissioner reports of official business. Who would like to begin?
I don't have anything.
No.
I attended the Town Hall Community Meeting on August 26th in the Northeast. That was very interesting, well-attended, great to talk to a lot of folks in the community and with the city. And I look forward to the next ones. I learned a lot and got to talk to people about their concerns and desires for our community. So it was very beneficial. I enjoyed it very much.
Right. Commissioner Lee?
I've observed a lot of the social media announcements for particularly teen programs, and I always forward it on Facebook, et cetera. I just want to commend that there's quite a diverse program. I believe the most recent one is about money management.
Yes.
And there's another one that's about cardboard.
The boats.
Amazing creativity. So
Duct tape regatta or something like that.
Yes.
yeah, very good. Yeah, whomever your social media person is, congratulations.
I think it's Dennis. Yes, thank you. I'll pass that on.
I gotta agree with that. They make me smile when I see some of like who thinks of these things, and they're great. It just makes our community so much stronger, and to have such great things for, it encompasses everybody. Not everybody would want to do a cardboard boat in the pool.
Someone had commented when I forwarded that would be a great senior activity.
Yeah, we may have to try something like that.
Well, I don't really know where that senior line is, so. Okay, I'll do mine. August 14th, the Celebration of Life, which is one of my favorite events to attend, which is for the community members that are over 90, I believe, over 90 years old. And it's just the best. It's like they're going to a prom. Everybody's dressed up and happy, and a lot of caregivers are there, but it's just the best atmosphere, and they get their photos taken in the corner, and there's a great, good entertainment and great food. So I highly recommend, if you can attend that, to do it, because it's always so neat. August 26th, the Town Hall Community Meeting, it was the information is so useful, and there were so many different faces there, people that we didn't recognize, so that's always, that's like the best, when, you know, you can outreach and have other people that don't always, you know, that are usually off of the grid or just not usually attending, so that's, and it was, the best part, I think, was that all the departments were there, so, you know, everybody could connect with something. Anyway, what was next? Oh, the water rate hike workshop. Well, there was some drama there, but there's, it's like our little theater in Santa Maria sometimes happens, and it was interesting of how that works, you know, how the process works. Sunday I got to go to the concert in the park. I haven't been getting to go to anything because I can't really drive, but oh my gosh, it was so much fun. It was great, although I will say that there was no toilet paper, I guess, and paper towels in the ladies' room, and part of the city council, 2 of them in fact, admonished me for it. So next time I go, I'm going to stick a roll of toilet paper in my bag just in case. But anyway, I highly recommend the concerts in the park too. They're wonderful.
Thanks, and the staff there on site should have been able to take care of that for them, so I hope that they did. If not, then that's something we'll remind them about. There's always extra stuff somewhere, so. I did want to go back to the community meeting. What I'll do is ask Sheila to distribute to you the comments from all the departments that they received from the public. I'm going to try to recap ours. There was about a dozen that came to ours, and most of them were positive. A couple of them were suggestions that we're going to try and help with. One of them is the landscaping along East Main Street, east of Sway Road. The sidewalks are there, and the landscape pockets are there, but there's no landscaping in them. One of the ladies who moved here from Orange County was talking to me about that and said, you know, that would be a great community project. So what we're going to do is talk to Pastor Carl and the Serve Santa Maria group and see if there is a way for them to take that particular area, which is about 3 blocks long, as one of their ongoing projects. We would provide the trees. We have a grant from CAL FIRE to plant trees. So maybe to plant some trees and, you know, maybe nothing spectacular, maybe some bark or small shrubs that don't require a lot of watering. Scott and Roy are working on some ideas to make that happen. One of the other comments was one of the neighbors at Rice Park. She was inquiring as to why 3 separate groups of employees come to Rice Park essentially on the same days, and they each do a particular chore and then they move on from the site. So I talked to the park supervisor, Roy Tinente, about it, and we're going to communicate back to her that on Tuesdays seems to be the major day. On Tuesdays, Rice Park is mowed. And so the operator is one fellow in a truck and a mower, and he arrives and does his mowing. And then Tuesdays is also the day that our trash cans have to go out. So there's a gentleman who's assigned trash can detail, and he goes to all the parks on whatever pickup day it is and then brings the containers out to the curb just like you would at your house.
Yeah.
Except we have 7 or 8 of them, or maybe at Prescott I think we have over 40 of them. So that's his job to do, and then he does that at that park and then moves on to the next site. And it may be coincidentally that the mower is there at the same time. And then we contract out our restroom maintenance for those restrooms, and so he shows up every day. And it's all about the same time, and so we're going to try and explain kind of our scheduling of things that we have going on. It does seem inefficient sometimes, but it is, instead of the way it's worked out is we have one fellow doing one chore at every park in the city, and for accountability, it's easier for us to do that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And we're going to try and go over that with her and kind of get her to understand that. Her other concern was at Rice Park is the way the park is configured, it's got a little piece of the park that's on the street, and then the rest of the park is kind of obscured from the street
Yeah.
because there's homes in front of it. And apparently, there's a neighborhood drug dealer that they're all aware of, and they know his name. So, but she was concerned that when the rangers go by, that they don't take a foot patrol out. And I've talked to Casey about that and the need for them to get out and, walk behind those homes. I also took the time to share with her the app that we have on our phone that has all our cameras. So the rangers have that on their phone, and they're able to monitor a park. Even though they may not be getting out of their vehicle, they're able to monitor the park via the cameras. And at Rice, we get pretty good coverage at Rice Park. So she was happy with that, and the fact that even though they may not be there, they're able to monitor the park from wherever they are in the city, actually, because it's all done over Wi-Fi. So interesting comments like that. One gentleman asked one of the parents that was here earlier, Mrs. Beal, she's with the Alzheimer's Association, and one of the residents came and said, gee, Santa Maria really needs to get the Alzheimer dementia trailer. And I guess what the trailer does is it's the Ventura County Alzheimer's Association has it, and it has different types of I don't know what you call them, physical elements that you use, and to give you to give a non-dementia person a feeling of what it is like to have dementia. And some of them are gloves, so you lose tactile skills. Some of them are deal with eyesight. Some of them deal with other limitations that you have that people with dementia, suffer, because Alzheimer's is just one dementia. It's so we're trying to work that out. Cindy Hoskins is working on that. We're trying to see if we can get it up here. And the idea is to help train police and firefighters and safety personnel so they understand when they come across a person with dementia, what they are experiencing, what that particular person is, and how they might be able to help them. So it was a very cool idea, and I didn't know anything about it. So Tom was his name. He gave us the info, and I followed up with Mrs. Beal, and so we're going to try and get it to town.
Great.
Sounds good.
Some of the things that we had, I think it was I agree that it was a very cool way to interact.
Yeah.
We've had them in the past, and it was very one-way kind of communication with the community kind of standing up and saying, we want this, we want this. But to be able to talk to them individually and answer their questions was pretty cool.
It was very cool. Thank you.
That's it for me.
That's it for you? I have some general comments. Does anybody have anything for the general comments?
Just to dovetail off of what Alex was talking about in terms of programming, another hot topic today is mental illness. So it's not just the recreation area, but it's the entire city, and for every social employee, teacher, etc. But to be aware of what services and resources are available, and then figure out how to implement it within our city.
And since you brought that up, one of the things that we have found out, and mostly through Eddie Galarza and Megan Diaz and their teen staff, is there are very, very, very next to none services for teens with mental illness.
Yes.
And it is amazing to me that that's the case.
So true.
And or have mental health issues. So it's a big void.
The other challenge I found at the university was HIPAA. In addition to those services, you find out someone you want to help, and then you can't do much
Yes.
because of HIPAA.
Very true.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to bring this up. When I was new on the commission a few years ago, 3 years ago, we updated our commission mission statement. And So I find it kind of odd that we don't have that on top of our agenda. We have the city mission statement. I mean, is there a reason for that? Because we worked hard on that.
Yes.
We
I
took the
remember.
whole year, yeah.
It's good.
Maybe that's, certainly we can add that
Okay.
to the agenda, and, yeah, I
Okay.
think it's,
I'd like to know what they
Yes.
are.
It's good.
yes, exactly,
you.
yeah. The newer commissioners may not know what it is, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we did update it in the new commissioner handbook.
I don't know if we ever actually voted. We did it for a long time and everybody gave their version.
I thought we did.
I thought we
wrote- I
finally
remember.
did
Yeah, we did.
at the end.
We did.
Well, then
So
apparently we'll be
Chair.
having to bring this back.
Yeah,
So thank
okay.
you. And now Commissioner Lee can have input and you can
Yes.
go that route too.
Yes.
Great.
That's it. Anything else?
We do give you upcoming events. Please take a look at them. There's stuff coming up, as always. September is no different than any other month for us. There's always something going on. The patch opens on
Yeah.
Friday the 27th. We have every slot for our field trips is full.
Wow.
Just a
Yeah.
comment when you get a chance.
Commissioner Lee?
Just a comment. There was a Chick-fil-A sponsored program, and I forget exactly what it was. But when I
Yeah, it's a
posted
leadership.
that, I got a lot of feedback objecting to it. So I don't know how we want to move forward in the future for sponsorships, but to be sensitive to those type of,
Yeah, one of the things that, Chick-fil-A goes through its corporate entity goes through a lot of issues. We were very careful to take a look at the curriculum and what it covered. And we were comfortable with what they were going to be teaching, for lack of a better term. But it is their leadership academy program. Yeah, I think we always put ourselves out there at risk, when we try and find a sponsor for things. And I think that's one of the key items that we might even want to talk about is what we want to look at in lines of our sponsors. Yeah, it's tough. It's a great program. In writing, it's outstanding, and I guess it all comes down to the delivery. I think we're in it now, so we'll kind of get evaluations back. I believe, I'm not sure how many youth are in it right now, but I believe there's a good handful of them, so.
Okay, anything else? Got a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
I'll second that.
Meeting adjourned. Almost 5 o'clock. 4:59. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.